Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the movie Ash. It released about a week ago, and I did see it just this past weekend. Took me a couple days to find some time to record and get my feelings down about it. So, this is a sci fi horror film by a director named Flying Lotus. I haven't seen his other work, but he seems to be a director that kind of is in the middle of the road with a lot of his films in terms of like how the audiences perceive it and how they seem to like it or dislike it. Usually a lot of them get like kind of 4 to 5 to I think the max 6 out of 10 like sort of range. The only reason why I bring that up is because I do believe that there are certain directors in which the audiences kind of have the same particular reaction. Maybe it's either because the director hasn't evolved enough in their craft, so they kind of keep putting out very similar films, or there's just a certain perception in which just kind of continuously leads their films to be sort of critiqued in the same type of way, or also just loved in the same type of way. Just like how there's great directors in which really they can kind of put out anything, and even sometimes when their work isn't that fantastic, people still will kind of only focus on the nuances that they achieve in that film or like the highlights of it. Like I think you could think of many directors in which, they get a film, they accomplish some idea, maybe they were trying to go for something pretty unique, but maybe that film or idea might have even worked better with a different director. But because that director is who they are, you know, it still works well enough because they have a particular style. Like I even said in my last review of, or like my last open commentary, whatever the hell I called it, of Mickey 17, with Bong Joon Ho and his sort of style and the way that that's, appreciated because he is who he is. So, with all that being said, either way, this director, I have really no idea who he is. He's actually in the film. He's one of the actors. Spoilers. I'm probably going to speak of spoilers here, by the way. That's how I'm going to do all of my reviews. I don't really want to go into it in a way where like I'm not going to talk about spoilers. So just saying, maybe I should put spoiler. Yeah, maybe I should put spoilers in the little bracket of the title of the video. Either way, yeah, I'm always going to talk about spoilers. And so with this film, I had like no expectations. I just saw like that there were a couple films out this week, a couple horror films. It was this one. There was also Locked, which is not really a horror film. I actually ended up watching Locked afterwards, and maybe I'll talk about it briefly here. But uh, yeah, there was a lot of good, interesting films coming out this week. So Ash looked cool. Had no expectations going into it. I completely even forgot that Aaron Paul was in it. I think one of my friends told me that he was in a film and it looked kind of cool. But either way, just a random day going to New York, went to go see the movie, and I really have to say that I absolutely loved it. I was completely blown away by it in so many different ways in which I'll get into, but I do want to get into first the critiques that I've been seeing online and even any critiques that I have, which aren't that many, to be honest. But you know, as someone that watches film, if you kind of like leave feedback or reviews online, sort of cataloging your film watching experience, you always go on like IMDb or Letterboxd and you see how other people react, right? So I watched the film. I absolutely was blown away by it. And look, I'm not going to say that every aspect of it is perfect, but I think it's a complete package of a film. It definitely takes inspirations of particular sci-fi horror films that have come out in the past, even video game inspirations, and it just sort of puts it all together in a really nice package that I genuinely feel is unique, you know? So I'm looking at the reviews and I'm just extremely confused because I'm like, okay, I can see people giving this film like sixes, sevens. So that's what I kind of initially see. I see a couple sixes, but then I see ones and twos and threes, and I'm like, really? Like, I don't understand that. I don't even feel like the film is too long. So like that's usually a problem for some people. Like, oh man, that film was a drag. Like I can't believe I watched. Like it doesn't really drag. It doesn't even have any slow pacing. It doesn't. It's not a slow film. It's also not too fast of a film. So it's not like an uncut gems where maybe you're trying to catch up to what the film is giving you. Like runtime, I think is perfect. Like I would not change anything about the runtime or the way that the film is structured. I think perfectly structured film. So I was like, okay, the acting, right? Main lead, great performance. She didn't do anything too phenomenal. I think in the moments in which she was asked to particularly come across one way or the other, she did her job. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh man, she gave like a fucking Oscar-worthy performance. No, she was great. She was absolutely great. Um, Aaron Paul, he's sort of the second, lead here, and he has some moments in which, like, I don't know if I would say they were poorly acted. I wouldn't say that at all. I just think that there was one scene in which he was giving an emotional performance, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. Which can kind of work for the film itself because of who he is as a character. He's just a fragment of her mind, since he's actually dead. So it can work in that way, but I think obviously they were not going for like a particular performance that would lead in that sort of direction. And, the other characters, they don't really overstay their welcome because they kind of come and go. Dude, when I saw the main guy from the raid in the film, I was like, oh, this it already bought me in when they had that flashback, which is like within the first 10 minutes of the film, and they showed him, I was like, no way they got this dude, because he doesn't appear in many American films. And if you've watched the raid series, like he's goated. Like he's up there for sure as like a absolute bona fide action superstar for sure. Like top five for sure, maybe even top three. Either way, it completely sold me there. And so I was like, okay, like, the film starts out with like this cool kind of like great soundtrack, man. Just awesome music, some nice synths and this type of 80s type of throwback type vibe, and it just really works with the aesthetic that it's pulling for. Obviously, the main inspiration behind this film is Alien. I can even see like another inspiration of it being like Dead Space. So it really pulls from its inspirations very well, in my opinion. Okay, so, you know, seeing these reviews, a lot of them are kind of talking about how they just didn't buy it. Some of the CGI, I agree with the CGI, but also this is like, it's not like a big project type of film. This isn't like a big budget release. Like, I'm even surprised that the set looked as great as it did. When I saw some of like the spaceships, like the spaceship flying, I was like, okay, like that doesn't look that great. Like, I'll admit, I was like, that doesn't look that great. But the other scenes in which like there was just these beautiful night skies, like the film opens with this gorgeous sort of like imagery, like if you're on acid or something. I don't even know what the hell was going on with the night sky. So I just like, I was very confused. I even sort of reading the reviews now, I'm not really sure what they're talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I felt like I watched a completely different film than most of these reviewers were giving it. So outside of those negatives, I don't really have much to say on the negative end. Like, I personally really loved the film. And, like, it really surprised me because I don't think I have like a crazy standard or anything, but I watch a lot of movies, and like you kind of like, I've definitely seen this type of film before, and I've definitely seen films attempt this style and completely fail at it. Hell, even Alien attempted to do this shit and it completely fucking failed it. Like, at times, but like in general, there just aren't as many sci-fi films that I think pull from its inspiration, but also give a unique story and also bring everything together. So the highlights for me, for sure, the number one thing that I noticed was the soundtrack. When that music started coming in, I was like, oh. And then there's this one song when the main girl is being chased by the deformed version of Aaron Paul's character, I think which is Mike. I think it's Mike. I knew all the characters' names like out of the gate when I when I left the theater, but it's been a couple days. Either way, when Aaron Paul's character was chasing the main girl, there was this like crazy song, and I was like, bro, this is amazing. The music is top tier, phenomenal. I hope they come out with a vinyl or at least something for it because it absolutely deserves it. So that's like for me up there, like one of the best soundtracks for sure that I've heard in a really long time. So that's great. The acting, like I said, there are some moments in which I think it's a little choppy. Honestly, primarily just from Aaron Paul. Outside of that, I think everybody else did fantastic. Like, they all hit their marks. They all did what they needed to do. It all comes across in the picture. And even I still think Aaron Paul still has a lot of great moments. And he's definitely a great catalyst for the main character to keep progressing and to keep trying to figure everything out. The action scenes are great. I really liked the POV cam that they kind of kept switching into. Thought that was sick. I honestly wish that more films did it, but I understand that it's sort of viewed in a gimmicky way, so it's not utilized as much. But it really kind of sucks because it's like look at a film like End of Watch, right, where it utilizes that and it's awesome. I mean, seriously, like almost every film that utilizes POV shots primarily throughout them, I feel like they put a lot of attention to the detail of what they have to capture, so you really feel that within the film. And especially if it's an action film, or if it's even a film that sort of keeps progressing, the more you sort of utilize POV shots throughout your film, the more you're engaging the audience, making them feel like they're actually in that situation as well. That's sort of the best part about POV, is that you really feel like you're in the action. So, you know, the camera work is great. The editing was really great. I felt like I had no issues with that at all. The pacing of the film is really great. I think the way that the story starts to slowly unveil itself, there are certain things that I immediately picked up. And like, I'll even admit, like, immediately when I saw the girl, I had this fantasy of like, oh, it'd be cool to like write a story if like, you know, an alien took over a person's body and like they had to convince humans like, oh, like I'm I'm a human as well, but they know that they're an alien. So I had that idea floating in my mind, and obviously comes out later in the film that that's a part of it. And then even Aaron Paul's character, I'm like, damn, he kind of came out of nowhere when he's first introduced, and I was like, I don't know, I think he's definitely a hallucination or something. It just seems so odd, like he just kind of comes out of nowhere. And so I picked up on things. The film didn't surprise me in any way. Like it didn't in its storytelling. It had for me nothing, but it also felt like there are films that are predictable, and it feels like it's so predictable that you can't even allow yourself to like be taken away by a film because it's just so predictable. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen, then that's gonna happen. Then you're just kind of like nothing really surprises you. And I think maybe it's the little nuances, the little things that they kept sort of throwing out there, like the editing choices, the cinematography choices, the soundtrack choices, the story beats, the set design was awesome, seriously awesome. And I really enjoy now when I get to reflect back on the film, a lot of what was going on internally with the main character that kept conflicting with reality, that kept conflicting with her ability to sort of process of what was going on. I thought it was great. Seriously. I genuinely felt like the entire story was really great. Uh, let's see. I felt like the ending portion was also very well done. I was like, okay, she ends up getting you know, the alien thing out of her head. A little bit ridiculous on how the thing kind of like just kind of goes in here and it's like able to get wherever the hell the alien went. I thought that was ridiculous, but I kind of was so bought into the film at this point that I was like, I don't really care. I'm all for it. I think that this film doesn't try to really ground itself so much in a sense of realism that I have to consistently question its choices or like the theme because obviously it's a sci-fi film. And it's just interesting. I like even the utilization of that robot thing in a way that is sort of comedic, right? Because it's like this sort of like happy-go-lucky thing, but you're like living in this freaking horrific environment and trying to figure everything out while it's telling you all these sweet things. It's really funny, and I liked that it was a way to sort of engage the audience. Like a couple people were laughing in the theater as we were all watching it. So I don't even know if I have much more to say than that. I I would highly recommend this film. I gave it on IMDb a 10 because I feel like it really deserves higher praise than what it's getting right now. It's a little bit ridiculous, like even Locked, the film that I saw afterwards, in which I think is also a great film, and I would also highly recommend it. But it's not even as good as this film, and it has almost like a whole point above it. Like right now, people are basically calling this movie average, and I just don't see it. I don't see how if you enjoy alien films, if you enjoy horror films, even if you enjoy like I don't know, just something that's indie produced, like I don't understand how this film comes across as like a garbage. I'm just so confused by that. Um, so it seems like I'm gonna keep reviewing films that keep being underrated. I don't understand the reason why. I feel like a lot of these films are way better than people are giving them credit for. Um, But personally, I wouldn't even think that this is a 10 out of 10 film. I probably would actually be closer to like 8.5, a 9, maybe even a 9. That's how much I really, really like this film. Like, I'm willing to rewatch it because I think it's a great movie theater experience. Even with like the choppy CGI at times, it still does a great job. So, usually I have my videos be pretty long. I know I haven't uploaded many of them, but trust me, I've recorded like five or six, and they've been so long. They've been like 20 or 30 minutes. So, not that I'm trying to hit a mark. I'm just saying that I did want to talk about Locked, and just some quick points. A really good film. Excellent acting across the board. Anthony Hopkins is very nefarious and domineering, and then Bill Skarsgård, he's completely different. He just gave the Nosferatu performance, and it's just such a 180 type of performance. Um, I don't even know if it was necessary for him to be that character, but I really find it amazing that he could be, because this is like, I think he's like a Swedish dude. No, I can't remember his ethnicity, but he's, you know, he ain't American, bro, and he gave a really good American performance. I gotta admit, it really this kind of he does sound a lot like what a European would think an American sounds like, but it's extremely accurate. I mean, I kind of see it now. I kind of see what Family Guy was going for years ago, and the way that for foreigners basically make fun of Americans. You don't really peep it until you see somebody else bring it bring it to your attention. You're like, oh, okay. Either way, great film. It's basically shot within this car. A lot of creative cinematography in the film. Nothing too crazy. It even for me, that film is not like trying to go for anything. And I think maybe that's the difference here because it's gotten better reviews. I mean, it has definitely a stellar cast with both of these guys. Like, that's a dream. That's a dream casting for sure. If you're Bill Skarsgård to act alongside with Anthony Hopkins, that's phenomenal. But yeah, I would highly recommend that one. I think on IMDb I gave it like an 8 out of 10. I'd probably be closer to like a 7 max. I don't imagine it being better than a 7. I think long term it'll be just one of those films that kind of like, oh, if you want to see all of Anthony Hopkins, filmography or Bill Skarsgård filmography, it's there and it's enjoyable for sure. I enjoyed it. It's nothing too special, nothing to write home to. It poses some interesting questions and some sort of philosophical ideologies and explorations, perspectives of what we view people that are struggling and how truly intelligent they can be. I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a given. It's always assumed that people that, don't have higher education are unable to be, or, are unable to be educated. So, it doesn't do anything too crazy. If you have like the AMC pass, uh, you know, make it one of the films if you want. It's a good almost 2 hour movie. And I ended up watching that after Ash, so I was like really happy. I was like, oh, I saw two great films today. I think what else did I see? Oh, I also did see Flow on Max. That was fantastic. I absolutely love that film, but I won't be talking about it. I am thinking of doing like a what did I watch this week type of series. I might do that instead, but I really just want to focus on what gets the most engagement. So if films like if videos like this, I don't know why I keep calling my videos films. If videos like this do really well, then I'm probably gonna stick to this format. But you know, definitely open to either or. Either way, guys, thanks for watching. Uh, Subscribe if you want and watch my other film review. I'm gonna try to put these out as much as possible because I do go to the films pretty I do go to the theaters pretty often. Again, it's a little bit late, so I'm a bit tired. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.